reacting. They have to do.
Yes, well, they have to do. It's getting out of control here. 31 seconds, and Bardet, this is his opportunity to make the breakaway of the day. It's always difficult, and when you get to the end of a stage and you know the stage victory is to play for here, he has to try and give it everything here. That's what he's doing. He's getting the orders here. You have to try and go after Quintana, because otherwise you're going to run out of time, and he's just really pushing on. But Lysenko still looking good there in his wheel.
Just under 25 kilometres to go to the conclusion of the stage. 19 Ks of which are descent towards Valois. Where Eddy Merckx is the only previous winner in Tour de France history, all the way back in 1972. Bardet 31 seconds behind with Lutsenko chasing Nairo Quintana. The 29-year-old from Combitan, the Boyacá region of Colombia. Disappointing yet again in the general classification stakes, but as it stands, he's up into the top 10 today, and he's riding to a stage win unless these two can react. But they're losing time. 34 seconds. And at the moment, it's Lutsenko, Sean, who's making Bardet do all the work.
Yes, well, you would expect that Lutsenko will just make Bardet do it all, because he is, of course, Bardet, the better climber. You would expect him to be stronger here, but Lutsenko, he's been very impressive. In the early part of the stage, he was riding there, trying to get to the breakaway, riding off the front on his own of the peloton for many kilometres, and he's still here at the moment. And it looks like Quintana is on one of his good days.
There's one win, though, this year. That came all the way back at the beginning of the spring. In fact, before the European spring had even started, it was all the way at home in Colombia, the Alto de Palmas, when he won the last stage of Tour Colombia 2.1. 37 wins in total, 2 of which have come at the Tour de France. Remember, he was stage winner last year in the Pyrenees, back to the Alps where it all started really for him back in 2013. In the meantime, in the yellow jersey battle, they all look at each other. Nothing happening yet. And the longer this goes on, the happier Julien Alaphilippe will be.
Yes, he certainly will be. This real strong pace being set by Ineos is suiting the race leader Alaphilippe. But will it continue? Will it be allowed to continue? Because the peloton is still that bit further down at the mountain here, and you would expect Jumbo-Visma to start pushing on because they have numbers there. And we have seen Bennett and De Plus when they did it in the Pyrenees stages, and we know that. Kruijswijk is looking in real good shape, and he likes that real fast pace. He doesn't like that sudden attack acceleration slowing down. So there will be a moment when other teams will take it up.
Simon Geske and Greg van Avermaet not successful on the day for CCC team. They've just been retaken by the yellow jersey group. 38 seconds now for Nairo Quintana, 5 kilometres from the top of the Galibier. The gradient now at a good 8%. Go down to 6 over the next kilometre, then it really ramps up to 9. A little bit more of a rest for the following 2 Ks before the last K will seem interminable. And it's been an interminable tour for this man. He's looking better, but just nothing is going right for Romain Bardet. The road has already narrowed. It's gone uphill again. The slopes of the Galibier looking even more barren. And this will continue. The higher we get, the grimmer it looks. The thinner the air goes, the more it will be an advantage to Nairo Quintana. They're doing his best to follow that neutral service car, but if that goes into the gap, that's a sickener for the riders chasing, isn't it?
Yes, well, the gap is grown out to be quite a good one, and 40 seconds we're hearing over race radio at the moment, so it's growing out all the time, and Bardet is, pushing on and giving it pretty much his all here. He wants to limit the advantage now to Quintana and see what he can do in the descent. We know Bardet, this area he knows quite well as well, and the final descent into the finish here is going to be a very important one. 19 kilometres, you can pull back a lot if you really make one of these real fast descents, and Bardet can do that, but 40 seconds is going to be a big ask.
Wout Poels distance, and that is big news for Ineos. Suddenly they look so much weaker in the mountains. It's Dylan van Baarle who remains at the front. And after that, only the two leaders. And Sean, I was just about to say, but look at the gap. You'd expect it to be going down, even though the breakaway's out there. At this point, with a mountain train on the front, you'd have expected to be slowly coming down. Instead, it's growing.
Yes, well, normal past years you would see when they get on front with the train, they would just keep the pace so high that it would just really pull back the advantage of the breakaway. But it's not happening here. But it's not important here for the breakaway. I don't think that concerns too much with Quintana, because he's going to move up the general classification, but not any danger for the podium or for the win this race. So it's going to be a question now. Think about the general classification, Ineos, and that's what they're trying to do. But normally Ineos would just go to the front, put that real strong pace and just put everybody on the limit.
That's the point I'm trying to get at, really, is that it's not quick enough, is it, at the moment behind? It is not moving, and it's not the same rhythm that's going to put the rivals in trouble like we've seen in previous years.
No, it's not, and we've talked about that many times in this tour. The team is the strongest it has been the past. When you see in past years, there'll be 3 or 4 riders still here in the group with the leaders from the team of Sky or Ineos as it is now, and they'll be just pushing on that pace, and we'll be losing riders all the time. And if anybody attack, they just take 10 seconds, they'd hang out there, and they just come back automatically, and that's not the same at all this year. And
por hablar, ¿ves? Me quitas el internet.
yeah, I think it's proven the point now they're certainly not as strong as a team as they have in the past years.
5 minutes and 21 seconds back to the yellow jersey group. It had gotten as low as 4 minutes and 30. We know that Quintana attacked explosively. We'd have expected it to be coming down. And look at Julien Alaphilippe sitting on the wheel of Geraint Thomas, for the moment looking comfortable. Valverde's towards the back. You can see in the green and white jersey, still there, Emmanuel Buchmann, as Marc Soler has been distanced. So some are suffering at least. 51 seconds now. 51 seconds back to Bardet and Lutsenko. Can Bardet be a factor on the descent? We know it goes downhill pretty well, but it's a big time gap to make up.
Yes, it's a huge gap, and he would like to be at maybe 15-20 seconds, and that is possible to bridge up. But with this advantage out to Quintana, it's not going to happen for him. And you can see there he's starting to call for Lutsenko to try and get him to do a bit of the pulling on the front. And I think Bardet, he sees that the stage is just getting away from him.
Nairo Quintana changed his coach over the winter. Michele Bartoli, the former Italian classics rider, was brought in to try and rev up whatever was left in the motor. He said that the motor and the engine was still working inside Nairo Quintana, but it's not been able to pass a July MOT so far. Today, he might be able to sneak it through. "57 seconds. What an attack from the Colombian. 3 kilometres still to go to the top as we start to focus more on this yellow jersey battle. Remember the gap before today, 1 minute and 35 seconds from Alaphilippe in yellow to Thomas on the left in that red and black jersey for Ineos, the defending champion. Kruijswijk at 1 minute and 47. And this is that yellow jersey group. Thibaut Pinot, menacing, many favourites, still there. This is Julien Bernard, on the 32nd anniversary of a win for his dad. Not able to pull it off for the next generation. Romain Bardet continues to give his all. Alongside him, Alexei Lutsenko, one of the great animators of this stage. But the champion from Kazakhstan, unable to do it. At the moment, it's looking like nobody's going to be able to deny Nairo Quintana. Behind, what's left of the Ineos train still rides. They need to do something more. It's advantage Alaphilippe right now. And we know that there's 2 hard days remaining. We know that tomorrow we go over the highest pass in the Tour de France, the Iseron, 2,700 metres. But today was the day. Almost 5,000 metres of climbing. Over 200 kilometres. Unless it's being hidden very well, there is nothing. There is nothing that is putting Alaphilippe in trouble. That's what awaits the riders at the top. Nairo Quintana about to be roared on to the summit. He hasn't looked good, had he, even in the breakaways. This is a much better Quintana than the one we saw even last week. So, Van Baarle. And this shot looks like he's gone. There he is. Still hearing his name on race radio. We didn't hear the big cry of him being dropped. And still a tailwind, Sean.
Yes, it is a tailwind, and you can see Van Baarle is doing a real good job here because he is, continuing on making the pace. Maybe it's not a killer of a pace, but still he's been there for many kilometres. And but at what point will we see some attacks? We have to see somebody trying to go for it here on the final number of kilometres. But for the moment, all calm and everybody just waiting. And I don't know. Is there anybody capable of doing it? That is the question. And sometimes, yes, you look at the group here and you look at the pace being set, and the advantage out of the breakaway, it's still at 5:49 to Quintana. It's certainly, not a huge fast pace, but again, everybody can be on the limit here in this group of big favourites.
1 minute 15 seconds. Quintana is pulverising his rivals out in the breakaway. Now then, big news in the GC fight. Laurens de Plus has been dropped. That leaves only George Bennett left now for Steven Kruijswijk. George Bennett, remember, who crashed earlier on in the day. On the left, David Gaudu's done really well to survive for Thibaut Pinot. Just cooled himself well with a bottle there taken from a spectator. And
it's a long climb now. We're well over 2,000 metres, and we know the effects that has. Quintana out front, of course, altitude. We talk about the Colombians, they can manage it much better because they come from that altitude. And Van Baarle set this strong pace here. Is there anybody able to really put in an attack here? That's the question. And we talked to some of the people there during our programme. When you get over that 2,000 metres, it's just difficult. The oxygen less. You cannot make those efforts. Is that the case here in the group of all favourites? Will we see nothing happening on this the Galibier? Which was, there were big expectations for something to happen here, but for the moment, and we're getting ever so close to the top.
In that case, you might expect something maybe from Egan Bernal. He's the one who's used to it up there. Will he get the freedom? Will he be allowed?
That is the question. I'm not sure if he will be allowed. I think he will be there, as the second man. He will be there in case Geraint Thomas gets into difficulty. But for the moment, I would feel, and I understand, that Geraint Thomas is the protected man in the team of Ineos.
Nairo Quintana, with just a kilometre to go to the top of the Galibier, just needs to stay upright. He has been the man who's made the difference on roads above 2,000 metres that have reminded him of home. The Galibier about to be crested by the Colombian star, and he's reminded us today that he is a star. It's been a long time since we've seen this, and look at what awaits him. Magnificent views, and Nairo Quintana doing what he does best, into the top final kilometre of the Galibier, and he's building almost a 2-minute gap as we do see Egan Bernal attack. Now then, the party starts. Egan Bernal at the front, takes off from Dylan Van Baarle, and only Alejandro Valverde is on his wheel right now. Now, is this Bernal taking over at the front, or is this Bernal inviting everyone to chase and really putting the pressure on?
Well, I think it should be just to put the pressure on, because they have to try something. They have to put Alaphilippe in difficulty, and you have to really up the pace here in the final kilometres of the climb here. And we're at the point now where you would expect Alaphilippe to be in difficulty because the altitude at this point in the race, but they're going to try, and it's Bernal who is put into the work here to do that.
Egan Bernal, the best young rider in the Tour de France, white jersey on his back, rides away from the yellow jersey group for now, and now it's down to Enric Mas in the blue jersey, who has to work now to bring this back for Julien Alaphilippe.
Yes, well, it's a good job being done by the teammate of Alaphilippe, and he's just going to continue setting this pace here and getting to the top. But will we see attacks from the other favourites? And that's where it becomes complicated then. But Bernal just pushing on here, and we can see that we're losing a number of riders out of this group of favourites. Just the little gaps appearing.
Look at this. Nairo Quintana amongst the fervour at the top of the Galibier. Just 400 metres more to enjoy this, and enjoy it he can. He's away. He's rolling away to a stage when the Colombians will be going crazy, because the next big promise, maybe the first Tour Colombia winner that we've ever seen at the Tour de France, Egan Bernal is on the march. Quintana. And he looks at class act again. We've been waiting a long, long time to see this. As Romain Bardet leaves behind Lutsenko in his wake, he's going to pick up some big points, and he might even take the polka dot jersey today. He's going to get very, very close anyway. That might have to be the next aim for Romain Bardet. 12 seconds we're hearing for Egan Bernal, with Enric Mas still chasing for the Koenigsegg. And Adam Yates has now been reached by Egan Bernal. In your picture, at the top of the Galibier, Nairo Quintana has absolutely pulverised the competition. He's over the final climb of the day. 4,700 metres climbed. He now has 19 kilometres to descend to victory. Whereas Egan Bernal might be about to ride himself towards the podium. He started 2 minutes and 2 seconds down from Julien Alaphilippe in the yellow jersey battle. And this is Ineos, after riding through Dylan van Baarle and Wout Poels, finally now putting the pressure on. He's looking good here. He is looking very good, and this could be a big, big turning point in the Tour. No group behind yet in the picture. 21 seconds for Egan Bernal, as we see the second man on the road, who's still a good 5 minutes further up the road than Bernal. You're watching two races here on live on Eurosport. You're watching two races at the Tour de France. Nairo Quintana looks about, he's about to take the stage. Romain Bardet still there or thereabouts. Second place looking good for him, but the descent still has to be taken on. It's been an improvement from Bardet. It's been a good ride, but look at that. He's 144 seconds behind. .143 for Bardet. Wonderful to hear all of that passion. Amazing to see Bardet somewhere close to back to his best. Sure, no, he needs a miracle to win the stage.
Yes, I don't think it's going to happen. We can see that Quintana is putting a really strong performance in the final number of kilometres from the moment he went in the attack. And in the general classification, let's not forget, Quintana started out at 9:30 this morning. We can see 6 minutes back, so that would put him into 7th place, just ahead of his teammate if he continues to hold this advantage. So for Quintana, stage victory, unless he has problems on the descent, is pretty much guaranteed, and a big move in general classification.
Big move here from Egan Bernal, who is riding up to 2nd place on GC right now. He has over 30 seconds on the yellow jersey group, and all being laid down on Enric Mas. Enric Mas in the blue jersey, leader turned domestique. Bernal putting in a big ride here, perhaps going a long way towards potentially winning the Tour de France. There he is, up to 2nd at 1 minute and 23 seconds behind Julien Alaphilippe. In the meantime, a little bit more housekeeping for you is that we saw behind Romain Bardet is now the wearer of the polka dot jersey. He is the current king of the mountains. He'll be on the podium with that at the end of the day. What a race we're watching. The altitude finally coming to the fore. 3 times above 2,000 metres today, and this third and final time making a huge difference. 1 kilometre to go to the top. 45 seconds now, the gap for Egan Bernal. Sean, is he winning the Tour de France?
Well, he's really, as we see,
Geraint Thomas. Geraint Thomas goes as well. Oh, this could be interesting internally. This could be very interesting internally. Geraint Thomas goes. The second place has already got on GC for him. His teammate has gone into it, and Ineos suddenly looking strong.
Yes, well, Geraint Thomas looking super strong, and that is a tactic. You know, get Bernal up the road and then try and get across them. As we can see here, you know, there's panic here in the group now. But the descent also, we have, you know, this long descent, and I know Bernal has around the 40 seconds advantage. But now with Geraint Thomas coming across, is going to be interesting. As we see Alaphilippe here,
Keep your eye on him.
fighting to hang on here at the end of this group of 6 men.
It's now down to Buchmann who's doing the work. Thibaut Pinot not quite looking as strong yet as in previous days. Mikel Landa's in fourth wheel there in the blue jersey. Steven Karlsvik still there in the yellow. And we're seeing Geraint Thomas, the defending champion, now defending from the front. Still 14 kilometres of the stage to go for Nairo Quintana, who looks like he's going to win it. Alaphilippe now losing the wheel. Julien Alaphilippe having to fight for every single hairpin. Back on once more he comes. He can't do too much about Egan Bernal at the moment. And there he goes. There he goes. Alaphilippe loses the wheel. Another effort made to close it. These are big moments in this tour. It's been a huge tour. It's been a special tour. But it's another Frenchman on the attack now. Thibaut Pinot reacting. We have chaos on the Galibier. What a race we're watching. Geraint Thomas on the march, but Thibaut Pinot goes, and that is it. The yellow jersey's cracking. That is it. Julien Alaphilippe is in real trouble now, and he could even lose the jersey.
Yes, well, he's in trouble, but again, how much will he lose here? We can see getting a little bit of a push from the spectators, trying to stay in the wheel of Richie Porte here. We know Alaphilippe, he's descending quality, so he could make up a bit on the descent, but again, how much has he got into the red? Because a bit more to get to the top here. So we see Geraint Thomas pushing on, but we can see Pinot, he's just coming back, clawing his way back to the wheel of Geraint Thomas.
The virtual general classification on your screen, 1 minute 33 between Alaphilippe and Bernal, as Thomas has now been joined by the rest of the favourites. Behind him, Pinot in the white jersey. You can see Landa's the only other guy who's able to get up to this group, as Buchmann has to make the big effort. Karlsvik started to be distanced for the first time as well. One little bit of weakness, but he's not going to go down without a fight, is Julien Alaphilippe. We knew that. We said he'd die up there in the yellow jersey if he had to do. Over the top they go with Thibaut Pinot. Landa behind him. Wood's still there from the breakaway. Not a factor, of course, here. His teammate Uran has been dropped. And there is Karlsvik in front of Alaphilippe, who had a little bit of a gap to make up. Alaphilippe coming across right now. And with the differences on the road, Alaphilippe still has a chance to hang on today. It could have been worse. At the first moment he went, it could have been a lot worse.
Yes, well, we could see there that when Thibaut Pinot was doing the chasing in the corners, Alaphilippe was losing 2-3 bike lengths. He made 2 or 3 efforts like that, and then just wasn't able to keep in the wheel anymore. And he's limited his losses here, and his descent is going to be important now. But this descent, you know, it's a very fast one. It's a technical one, and when you go so deep, you have to be careful as well, because, you know, when you're really under pressure, you can make a mistake on this descent, and it's a long one, but also a danger one. Hopefully everybody makes it safely.
Geraint Thomas's move there, has that put Egan Bernal's position in danger? Because he was really pulling out some time.
Yes, but I think that within Ineos is the tactic is
that was the plan, was it?
Yes, that was the plan. You know, put Bernal in front and then try and get Geraint Thomas across. But it was looking good for him. But Pinot also, you know, very strong there, as we expected. He is performing as he has been in the Pyrenees stages in the big mountains.
Don't forget about this man just yet. Yes, there was a crack up there. Yes, there was a move. But Julien Alaphilippe is taking every single risk he can down here. We know desperately well that he is so good at this. And you can see Karlsvik is the next man up the road, who's also off the back. This is Nairo Quintana. We'd almost forgotten about him. He's going to win the stage barring any problem. 1 minute and 37 back to Bardet, who's gained about 10-15 seconds back. Bernal, in the meantime, has 30 seconds on his teammate Geraint Thomas. Bernal has around 45 seconds on the yellow jersey. So the yellow jersey only ceding 20 to 25 seconds to Geraint Thomas as it stands.
Yes, and we can see Bernal here making the descent. Not the best descender, and I think he's going to have difficulty holding on to that advantage he pulled out on the climb to the top of the Galibier, because we can see Pinot here pushing on, and this one, it's a long one. From the top we had that 19 kilometres, so yeah, unless you're a really good descender against some of the better ones, you can lose quite a number of time.
Rigoberto Urán is in this group. Geraint Thomas in the fourth. Just lost the wheel of Urán, actually, with Landa there. And it's Pinot, the man a couple of years ago you'd at least expected, is pushing it on. There was Karlsveit getting back on. And this is Alaphilippe. He's got back 3 or 4 seconds so far. It's going to be an edge of your seat watch, this. Julien Alaphilippe. Well, if he limits these losses to this, again tomorrow they know that there's a chance to crack him, but they need to take more time. This could end up being a heroic performance, but he needs to stay on his bike. 9.8 kilometres to go in the meantime for Nairo Quintana. "33 stage wins down the 40 years of history for Movistar. Is it going to be number 34 today? Quintana won the last one last year. Valde at 1 minute 35. Bernal still has 30 seconds on the Pinot and Thomas group. Pinot and Thomas group that only now has 10 seconds, just over, on Julien Alaphilippe.
He's definitely making inroads to the group of Pinot. Geraint Thomas, because I think Julien Alaphilippe was a bit further off. We could see him, when he came over the top, it was certainly 15, maybe 16 seconds, so he is making a good descent, and we can see Pinot's the one who was pushing on here, but Bernal. Again,
we've been up it, we're now descending it, and this is Julien Alaphilippe in the yellow jersey. It's with Richie Porte there, who he leaves in his wake, and he can see them ahead. Alaphilippe is going to get back on. Julien Alaphilippe, they distanced him. It looked as though he might be able to go into a huge crisis at the top. He was having to make those little extra accelerations every single hairpin. He looked out of it. He looked out of gas. The tank is full again. The heart is beating. And France is just 2 stages maybe from winning a first Tour de France for 30-odd years. What a performance this is!
Well, what a fight, and what a fight really is. And we can see that the way he's going downhill, just goes by Kreiswick there at such a fast pace, and moves up in the group. And again, he's just going by riders here, and if they're not rid of him today, he's going to hold on now, and the question is now for Bernal, will he be able to stay on out in front, because it's still Pinot who is securing the pace on the descent here, and 6.8.
Philippe extending his Tour de France lead today, and now they have to worry, because if you're on this group, you do not want Pinot, with all the greatest respect to him, chasing Alaphilippe, Sean.
No, we know Pinot is not as good as Alaphilippe. You can see here perfect example. Alaphilippe, he comes up, he just floats through the riders that were in that group of Pinot and goes to the front here and just taking the advantage here, taking distance from them, and it's still Pinot is pushing on. Normally, yellow jersey, if you get dropped on the final couple of 100 metres of the climb, then you get back and you just sit in the wheel and rest, but that's not Alaphilippe, that's not his way of riding. He's just so aggressive, and he continues on doing it, and it looks like that he could take some time from the other ones because the way he's going down here, he's pulling out the advantage all the time.
Out of this world, Alaphilippe. Now Uran takes over, notices the panic. Notices the moment, goes wide on that hairpin though, and Alaphilippe gains a couple more metres. Well, in the space of 5 minutes, Alaphilippe was maybe struggling to hold the jersey. He's going to fit him even tighter tonight.
And now his heels are struggling.
Incredible. This has been such a glorious watch. And for fans of Nairo Quintana, the same. We thought he was done and dusted last week. Looked a shadow of his former self. But that acceleration, that explosiveness has really put Bardet in trouble. For Bernal, things aren't going so bad. He's actually gained a little bit of time there. So Ineos is still in the game. But they may have to make more time up on Alaphilippe going into tomorrow's stage than they had today. I'm almost speechless here now in the commentary box. Julien Alaphilippe has not only hung on, he's been dropped, he's come back, and he is now putting time into his rivals on the descent. Majestic performance from the De Koning Quickstep man. A very good ride too from Egan Bernal Gomez, the 22-year-old from Colombia. We knew the altitude wouldn't trouble him. We know that the altitude has certainly played into this man's game. Nairo Quintana. Up to 7th now in the virtual general classification. We're hearing that Greg van Avermaet is the most combative rider of the day. So Rigoberto Uran closes the gap to Julien Alaphilippe. Good bit of work from him. I think all the other contenders will be thankful of that, Sean.
Yes, well, we can see they're starting to ride together now, and we have a section here where it just levels out quite a bit in the last number of kilometres, and we can see Bernal is doing a real good ride here, but to hold on to this, if they start to kilometres.
Alaphilippe caught by Uran, who'd made that big effort. Richie Porte is back on now on the rhythm. Now that we've got off the technical part of the set, is a little lower. Egan Bernal pulls out another few seconds. Egan Bernal started the day in 5th place. As we see Nairo Quintana rising above Mikel Landa in the overall general classification. It'll be about half a minute to a minute between the two Movistar boys. Alejandro Valverde. So there, and he's going to be bumped down a place, I think, by Rigoberto Urán. Who's with that front? Nairo Quintana then into the final kilometre. This has been a foregone conclusion for a while now. Movistar had 3 men in the break. They made their intentions clear. We questioned their tactics. We wondered what on earth they were doing. But they knew that this man had the legs. They knew that Nairo Quintana was back. They knew that he could pull off another big one. It didn't go to plan last year in the general classification. This year, it didn't go to plan either. Nairo Quintana rides into the final 400 metres in Valois. The only other man in the history of the Tour de France to win here was Eddy Merckx. We started off remembering Merckx in Brussels. We're nearly in Paris. It's not going to be yellow for this man, but it is going to be a big comeback. Quintana comes out to play in the Alps, and all the way from the Andes, he's brought his best climbing talent and legs with him. Quintana, who has blood on the shirt, blood, sweat, tears, and finally joy for Nairo Quintana. Movistar's tour's been saved. Quintana's the winner in Valois. Behind him, Romain Bardet tried to rescue it for Agitazel Mondial. He's into the final kilometre today. It's not going to be glory, but it's certainly going to be a comeback. He's going to go into the polka dot jersey after this ride. Romain Bardet, not able to do it, shake of the head shown, but he certainly won back the hearts of the French public.
Yes, well, he certainly come a long way, because it looked like in the Pyrenees that his tour might not get to Paris. He was struggling big time, but he's recovered well and put up a brave battle today here, and now he's very much in the fight for his polka dot jersey. But the stage victory, he just came up against a rider, Quintana. How strong was he in the end? Because we could see the moment he went away on the Galibier, he was just too strong for this man here, Bardet.
Also wondering what the blood was on Quintana's jersey as well. In the meantime, it's
Gel, I would say.
You think so? It's Romain Bardet who's going to come across in second place. The figureheaders too to the time bonuses, they look like they're going to be taken away from the general classification guys. 10, 6 and 4 on the line, and normally these would be the GC guys. Quintana and Bardet both out of it, but both actors in a super show today. Bardet finishes second at 1 minute and 37 down. For Quintana, it's been an absolute pasting to everybody else. He's really dished it out. Now then, 3 kilometres to go. Egan Bernal sitting there alongside Serge Pals. The final time bonus is going to be taken out the way too. 4 seconds is going to go to Alexei Lutsenko. So nothing there for Egan Bernal. But a very combative, enjoyable to watch ride from Alexei Lutsenko yet again. If Movistar have saved their tour today, Astana will have to wait for another day. Behind Caruso, with him Kemna, and another very impressive ride from the German. Bahrain, remember, already have a win from the first week. Dylan Turns having taken that at the top of the Planche des Belles Filles. It's Kemna who sprints in for 4th place. Sunweb also looking for joy. So 3 minutes down. It's raining cats and dogs. Egan Bernal fighting for everything he can get. Powers is there on his wheel with him. unable to help him at the moment.
Yes, well, not able to help him, but Bernal is putting in a big ride here because he's still holding on 30 seconds, we're hearing there, to the group of yellow jerseys. So that would mean if he holds on, he will move ahead of Pino and Kreiswick in the overall standing. He will move up to third place in GC.
That would be 2 Ineos riders on the podium with 2 meaningful stages to go. Egan Bernal, 750 metres from the finish line. More high mountains tomorrow. Bernal today taking back time, but is it going to be enough? At one stage he looked to be taking a lot of time until Thomas went off in pursuit. This in the meantime is Woods with Bernard. And what a half an hour we saw of action at the top, just before and just over that climb. Something that will live long in the memory, I think, and adding more drama to what's been a sensational tour. And I guess we know that everything's still in play going to the final 2 days. But Julien Alaphilippe has proved once again, Sean, that nobody be able to move him.
Well, he put up a great battle there, but again, we didn't see that battle we were expecting from some of the big favourites, but still he hung in there and battled on quite well as we see Bernal coming in here at the finish. This will be an interesting one. How much will he take on the yellow jersey?
4:46 down on the winner, and here is the yellow jersey. It's Bookman just in front of him. Behind him you can see Karlsvik, then it's Pino, Thomas, Landa and Uran. 250 metres to the line. As it stands, they've lost about a quarter of a minute. Bookman trying to desperately drag them all across. All of their places are in danger here, with Bernal gaining time. 5:12, 13, 14, ticks on. It's going to be a half a minute. It's going to be just over half a minute for Egan Bernal. Julien Alaphilippe has saved the day. He looks unmovable at the top of the Tour de France. The stage, after a stormy day in the Alps, goes to Nairo Quintana. And Julien Alaphilippe did find the ride of his life. He keeps his lead in the yellow jersey. Valgir with a good ride. And that was stunning. That was absolutely stunning for Julien Alaphilippe. Alejandro Valverde dropping a place or two in the general classification, but all the attention today on his teammate Nairo Quintana. Even more attention behind Sean. We are 2 days from our first French winner of the Tour de France since 1985.
Well, yeah, he looks solider than I was expecting him to be this morning setting out. I was concerned for Alaphilippe that he would lose some time against the favourites who were just in the place behind him in the GC standing, but held on quite well, battled well, got into a little bit of difficulty but recovered well on the descent, and still in a really strong position. And he's going to get confident as the days go on, and it's an interesting one. But the Colombians, I think, were the rise of the day. Quintana winning the stage, moving up in general classification. Bernal also moving up to third because he was 15 seconds down on the third man, Kreiswick. So a great day for Colombia.
Gran Colombia in the Alps. The Andes might be a long, long way away, but it's these high European mountains where these South Americans are really showing themselves off. There's Fabio Aru. If nothing else, a real fighter at this particular Tour de France. Coming back from that iliac artery surgery. Not quite at his best, but we look forward to seeing him in Spain next month. Former winner of that race, remember. The only Grand Tour he's ever won. That was a phenomenal day. David Gaudu played his part. Thibaut Pinot still in with a shout, but he needs to do more. Maybe we expected a bit more. When the dust settles overnight, there'll be plenty of pieces to pick as well in the morning. The biggest headline is that Julien Alaphilippe has not only held on when it looked like he was cracking, he was straight back on it. losing nothing to everybody bar Egan Bernal, who was the only man who gained anything in the general classification today. Another chapter of the story, but we're no closer to knowing the ending. These are results. Nairo Quintana's the stage winner. Balde there as well. But look all the way down to Bernal, who gains time, 32 seconds on his rivals. Behind, you've got to look at Julien Lefilippe, who keeps the jersey.
Edge of your seat